Hi guys, and welcome back to Mondays with Kamande. It feels like I've been gone for almost half a year, which is true. I've been away for almost 6 months. Almost 6 months. But it's good to be back. Karibuni sana. My name is Kamande Esther, and this is Mondays with Kamande. If this is your first time, please subscribe. But if this is not your first time, Karibuni nyumbani once again. I just wanted to begin this year. I think I'm allowed to say Happy New Year. It's not yet, it's not too far gone. It's just 19 days into the year. So a Happy New Year to you from me. The last time we were together was before I took a break. And I think in the last episode that we had, I explained why I take breaks from creating and sharing content online, or just being having an online presence after July. And that was the last time we were together here, you and I. And it's such a joy to be back. And I casually said in the last episode that I might be back, like after a day. Okay, a day wasn't realistic, but after a week or after a month. The things of God are just the things of God. He might just wake up and say, I need you to spend time with me, and let's spend the entire rest of the year together. It's just been a walk with God. And if you're wondering what this channel is all about, or probably you've forgotten what this channel is all about, this channel is about a woman who just decided to trust God and to share her journey with God, and share the lessons that she learns in her walk with God. And by doing so, she hopes that someone somewhere will get inspired, will get challenged to also just cultivate a relationship with God. That's one. And secondly, the greatest desire from this channel is to inspire someone to, ask themselves, who is this God Kamande keeps talking about? Uyu Yesu, this Jesus she keeps. And I think my t-shirt can just testify or back up whatever it is that I do on this channel. And the thing is, I'll always involve God in everything that I do, everything that I talk about, in my jokes, in my interactions with people. I'm always involving God, and this channel is just that. It's just Kamande Esther sharing her journey with Christ, and just trying to rally other people along with her to also just cultivate their relationships with God. Anyway, I wanted to begin this year with a charge, or with a video that encourages me and encourages you as well, about purpose, about you and your life, and whatever brings fulfillment to you, and whatever it is that you're feeling God wants you to do, or what God has called you to do, or what God has created you to do. You might have, you might be waking up every day and thinking, oh goodness, whatever it is that I'm doing with my life does not bring me joy, or does not leave me feeling fulfilled, or, does God really use people like me? If there's anyone who shouldn't be doing what I'm doing today, it's me. I come from a background that automatically disqualifies me from being used by God. I come from, not coming from a background in terms of where I was born, but the way I look at my life, and how, and the positions, and the way my life has unfolded. I am one of those people who consider themselves disqualified to be used by God, really. And you might be there thinking, you're an underdog, you're a misfit, you never fit in, you come from, let's say, your past, or your background growing up, or your childhood, or anything about your life, or just the way your life has been. You've always counted yourself out. You've always thought to yourself, there is no way God can use people like me. You're probably looking and watching this video and thinking, "Wey Kamande, if you knew what I've done, ukijua vile nimechafua hizi streets." There is no way God can use me. There is no way God will have a relationship with me. There is no way God can look upon someone like me, with a past like mine, with someone who's made certain life decisions, someone who has, done or committed certain things. There is no way God can use someone like me. But I think I exist, and this channel exists to remind people like you and people like me that indeed there's room for you. There's room for you in the agenda of God. There's a place, and a specific place that has your shape. You know, the way, I don't know if you've played the puzzle game where you're trying to create an image, and you have pieces of a puzzle. If one piece is missing, the entire puzzle is not going to make sense. If two pieces are missing, it's not complete. You are that one missing piece of the puzzle in God's agenda. And the Bible talks about the plans that God has for us, and these are plans that it's only Him as God who knows those plans, because He's the one who has made those plans. And the greatest desire of God is, one, for us to be redeemed and restored back to Him, and to have that relationship with Him. And the second greatest desire is for you to live out the plans that He has for you, because the plans that He has for you, if we could all just take our positions, Kamande ako hapa on, with content, is someone else doing something else for God, and just all of us taking our positions in the agenda that God has for the world, then I think and I believe that the world would be at a better place, and we would have so many people giving their lives to Christ. And that's the season we're in right now. It's the season where we get to decide, what am I going to do for God, or what am I going to do that is in alignment with what God has called me to do, that is going to create an impact in the world, and it's going to draw people closer to Him. I was watching a movie the other day, and there's a lady who, in the movie, the young girl she's not really young, but she's a young woman, and she had a stuttering issue. She used to stammer a lot, and she kept thinking there's no way God is going to use her because of her stammering issue. And she kept praying, and her greatest frustration was that because she has a speech issue, God is not going to use her, and so she has no other way of serving God, because she believed that the only way I can serve God, and the only way I can have an impact in people's lives and cause people to get back to Christ, was if her gift had anything to do with speaking. And she'd get so frustrated because of that, because by the time she's constructing one sentence to speak, it's taken her so many minutes, and she felt disadvantaged until she discovered she was good in writing, and she was good at organizing events and bringing people together, and just sharing the message of God through whatever, books and articles. And she discovered you don't have to, and what I was learning from that film is that you do not have to have your mind fixated on how you can serve God, just because the current trend in the world is creating content, and you're thinking, oh, I cannot, because I don't have that creative side of me, and I cannot create content, then there's no way I'm going to serve God. And there's someone else who might think, because I cannot, be in front of a camera, I cannot write, I am not an author, I don't have any creative gene in me, then I'm disqualified from serving God, or from doing anything for God. You might be thinking, but I'm not gifted in preaching, I cannot be a preacher, I cannot be a pastor, I don't feel like that's what God has called me to do. And you're thinking, oh, then I'm disqualified, I cannot serve God. One of the things that I've been learning, and I learned in this time that I was away in the break, and we will discuss why I had gone on a break in a later episode. But one thing I was learning is that God has not called all of us to be pastors. Not all of us are going to be pastors. Not all of us are going to establish churches or build churches or hold the microphone to preach in a church setting, four corners of a building. Not all of us are going to be doing that. However, all of us have been called to preach the gospel. All of us have been called, and there's an instruction, there's purpose that God has given us, each and every one of us. And the end result of this purpose is to make disciples for Christ. And you might be thinking, but how am I going to do that? And I used to think that as well, until I realized that even in our careers, even in our businesses, you are at a greatest advantage to win souls for Christ as compared to someone who's standing on the pulpit. Not everyone who needs Jesus will not find Jesus in the church. All right? Not everyone who needs Jesus out in the world will receive Christ in the four corners of the church. And understanding that makes me know that I might not be in a church service, but as I'm conducting my business, as I'm running my business, as I'm doing, as I'm at work, I still have an opportunity to win people closer to God. But how do you do that? And it begins by understanding what work am I doing and how can I involve God in my career? How can I serve God with my career, in my business? How can I make sure that God is the center of my business, number one? And number two, how can I glorify God in my business and in how I'm running my business in a way that people will be curious to know, oh, but Kamande runs her business in a different way. There's a way that this woman does her business. There's something different about her. And once people start identifying that there's something different about you at your workplace, there's something different about how you conduct your business, then the conversation starts from there. The conversation starts from what makes you different. What is this thing that makes, there's an it factor about you when people look at you, and that's where the conversations begin. Anyway, I wasn't coming to give a career talk, but that's just the essence of this channel. And I wanted to begin this channel by saying that you shouldn't count yourself out. You shouldn't disqualify yourself just because you have a past, or just because you have certain issues that you're still struggling with and still working through. You shouldn't disqualify yourself from serving God. There's a greater plan that God has for your life. And in that plan, there's a huge purpose that you play. There's a huge role that you play in the grand agenda that God has for this world. And you shouldn't let anything or anyone disqualify you from serving God, including yourself. Don't let your insecurities, don't let your low self-esteem, and I pray that God can heal you from that. Don't let your low self-esteem, don't let people's projections towards you, their own insecurities. There are certain people who can project their own insecurities to you, and they cover it up as positive criticism, or they're trying to advise you, they're trying to caution you. They just have discernment, know who's advising you and critiquing your work, and who's actually projecting the insecurities onto you. Don't let people who have given up on themselves make you give up on yourself. Don't let anything count you. Don't count yourself out. And don't look at where you're at in your journey, in whatever you're doing, discourage you from building upon and keep, you need to keep on building, whether it's making sense at that time or not. And it might get discouraging along the way, but that's why this channel exists. And Mondays with Kamande was birthed from a place of desiring to encourage someone else. One of the great things I struggle with a lot is discouragement. And it's because I'm in a space career-wise and also with content, where discouragement is a weapon that the enemy uses against creatives, really. And having to learn how to fight discouragement and being surrounded by people who would speak life to me and speak wholeness and speak words that build me up, that encouraged and helped me birth Mondays with Kamande. And for me, the greatest desire is to make that and to create that ripple effect, that encouragement where you feel like you can't do it, and then someone comes and tells you that you can do it, and then that ripple that multiplies to across Kenya, across Nairobi. And for me, that's what I really want. That's what I want to keep on doing, and that's what you can sign up for by subscribing. When you subscribe, or when you're watching Mondays with Kamande, that's what you're signing up for. You're signing up to being edified, being encouraged, and being reminded that there's a place for you in this world. There's a place for you in God's agenda. And everything that God has placed within you, all your gifts, all your talents, the passions that you have, the desires that you have, all of them serve God, and all of them can be used to serve God. And so, I will see you in the next episode. But until I can see you, may God keep you. Thank you so much for still hanging around here and just staying here and waiting for me to come back. It's been an interesting ride. It's been an interesting adventure the past 6 months, and it's been a beautiful journey, actually. And I'm so grateful that I get an opportunity and the breakthrough to just come back and create content and share content. And I pray that God is going to use this channel to inspire your heart, to keep building on your relationship with God, to inspire your heart to come back to God if you had walked away from God. And the beautiful thing is, it doesn't matter how long away or how far gone you've been from God, coming back to Him is just one step. Whether you've gone miles and miles and miles away, coming back to God is just one step. Turning back to Him. And I hope that can be a resolution that you keep and that you make and that you keep in 2023. Happy New Year, and thank you so much for being here. And until I can see you in the next episode, kwaheri sana. Bye.